the league is anticipating that if there are stadiums that are closed in areas where there isn't a stay-at-home order, you're going to have fans congregating in the parking lots. They're going to tailgate. They're going to hang out. They're going to watch the game on TV. They're going to have a communal experience. We can't get in the stadium. We're upset about that. We're coming out here to tailgate, and we're going to act like it's a game day. And there's going to be thousands of people potentially in these parking lots unless they shut them down and lock them up, but there's going to be a perimeter somewhere. They can only lock up so much around a stadium. At some point on the other side of the perimeter, fans are going to congregate. They're going to bring their grills. They're going to bring their beer. They're going to bring their TVs. They're going to dress like they would on game day, and they're going to be close enough where they at least know that's where it's happening, and we want to be in there. And my point is this. If you're in a community where that's going to be allowed outside of a stadium, why the hell aren't you just letting them in? If they're going to be outside anyway, if they're going to be mingling outside anyway. And again, I'm thinking of images that we've seen this week, one in Arizona, one in Oklahoma, where, hey, let them in. Hey, let them sit next to each other without masks on. Hey, what the hell? Let's do it. That's what I can't make sense of, that if that's okay and they're all going to be outside anyway, why just let them in?
I mean, I agree with you. Let them in. Yeah, you're right. It seems like there's going to be certain states and counties and things like that that are going to have no restrictions. And we're certainly seeing, like you said, there's certain states where the people just don't seem to give a damn, and hey, listen, even up here in the New York City area, they're still being strict, but you still watch the news at night in New York City and people are still getting too close to each other as well, to where it's a little uncomfortable. But I mean, Mike, I'm with you. If you're going to let them be outside in the parking lot and be close together anyways, just let them come in and cheer. The big thing is, don't let them too close to the players or the coaches or anything like that, because maybe they're not comfortable with that situation. And really, honestly, I thought I was going to hear more than 6 to 8 rows blocked off. I thought you might hear the first 15 to 20 rows, really, honestly, in this type of situation. But nonetheless, it makes a lot of sense from the NFL. It's going to be different looking at these games this year, that's for sure, what we see on TV. But, there's a part of me that's somewhat excited to see what it's going to look like and watch these guys play in this environment.
There's a part of me that's anxious as to whether or not we're going to get to see it, and I hope the hell we do. One other thing I'm
anxious as hell.
We talked about this earlier in the week. The idea that the league firmly believes, based upon what it has learned about the virus, that outdoor activities are more or less likely. I was trying to find a way out of those weeds. No, are less likely to spread the virus, because the droplets get into the air. If you're in a confined space, that's how the droplets hang around long enough for other people to get them in their eyes or their noses. Outdoors, the thinking is you're safer. You're at less risk. Like in the states where the spikes are happening, they think the spikes are happening because it's too hot to be outside, so people are doing things indoors in the air conditioning with poor ventilation, and that's how they're getting it. They're learning more and more about how you don't get it all. Everybody was, worried about service. You got to wipe everything down. You bring your stuff home from the grocery store. You got to wipe it down. You get your mail. We used to leave all of our stuff out on the porch for 24 hours to let any virus on it die, right? It's all the droplets now. That's the focal point. And the thinking is that if you're outside, you're okay. And the one data point that people in the league are paying attention to, the protests. There has been no dramatic spike in the areas where there were protests several weeks ago. Now, people were wearing masks. God forbid you wear a mask. They were outside. They weren't social distancing, but they were outside. They had masks on, and those did not become super spreader events. Meanwhile, people are going to be waiting and watching to see if a certain event that happened in Tulsa on Saturday and a certain event that happened on Phoenix on Tuesday become super spreader events because it happened inside without people wearing masks. So the NFL thinks it's on the right side of this, Chris. And I'm telling you, if there aren't stay-at-home orders in place in the cities, the counties, the states where stadiums are, and you know that people are going to show up anyway, and they're going to be upset that they can't get in, and you may have more fights, fights out in the parking lot. You don't have security out there per se. I just think you just let them in. If they're going to be there anyway and they're going to be engaging in behavior that potentially spreads the virus, why not let them in? It's that simple.
Yeah, Mike. I mean, I hear you. Everything you said makes total sense. There's no doubt about that. I guess the thing that kind of came to my brain though, just within this, and I know people in the NFL and know things here, but the inside conversation is interesting. If that continues to be true and what we're seeing in the evidence and all that, will that throw a wrinkle in the NFL's plans as far as the indoor teams, Mike? Will that make them change anything? Will the teams that have a dome automatically maybe just be like, no, we're not even going to risk it being inside. You're not allowed to come in this stadium, whatever it may be. I mean, I know that's a huge area still. I just wonder if that will be in the thought process.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense. Now, the domes, the ceilings are high enough that
right.
It's not like being in a confined space, but
right.
You got to wonder about the circulation. You got to wonder about the air. And also, and see, I don't know what's really going on behind the curtain, and the NFL hasn't been trying all that hard to let people know what's going on behind the curtain. But like if you're the Vikings and you play in a dome, and the University of Minnesota has its field that you used for 3 seasons while your dome was being built, do you just play your games there this year with fans, or do you play in your home stadium without fans? They're probably going to stay in their home stadium without fans or with reduced fans, but I think that's part of the conversation too, if they're convinced that open air is better, and if there's any concern that being in a domed stadium increases that risk of the congregation of the droplets and the infected material ultimately ending up in other people's eyes and noses. We're not that long away from July 28. And I remember saying back when we were in early days of this, we got free agency, then we got the draft. But the problem is on the other side of the draft, you have May. And May becomes June, and June becomes July, and July becomes football. And it all goes much faster. Before the days and weeks start to roll by, like in those weeks before Memorial Day weekend, there's this anticipation, summer's coming. Once it's Memorial Day weekend, man, I mean, the days just go by. And here we are. Here we are, a month since Memorial Day weekend, and I feel no greater clarity coming from the league other than, we still intend to go forward on July 28. Well, a few weeks ago, you intended to go forward with the Hall of Fame game, too, and how'd that turn out? So I really do think it's incumbent on the league to get some clarity out there so people – I know they don't want to overpromise, but I just think, we see these developments and we see what's going on, and I think a lot of people are like, I don't know how they can be football this year.
Well, Mike, that's what I was going to say. I mean, just the friends I have around the NFL and things like that, I think it's 50-50 when I talk to them, people, coaches, front office, people I'm texting and things like that, just casually, this time of the year. I think it's probably split down the middle between all the acquaintances I have. Some think, we're going to find a way to, they'll find a way to get it done. We're going to have some games for sure. I don't know if it'll be a full season. And then I have other coach friends who just think there's no way we're playing football, and that, they're going to try and they'll do their best effort, but realistically, they don't think it's going to happen. So, if that doesn't tell you where we're at as a society, as a league, everything, the people involved in the league are split down the middle and don't even really know what to expect at this point.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.